Welcome to the John Foucade Show, sponsored each week by Veterans Ford, 3724 Memorial Boulevard, Veterans Memorial Boulevard, right here in the heart of Metairie. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the John Foucade Show, sponsored each week by Veterans Ford. Mike Detillier along with John Foucade, and we start each of our shows with Mr. Robert Wyman from Veterans Ford. Robert, thanks so much for joining us. It's Come On Man special week, so to speak, each and every week here.
That's right.
December 8th, though, Truckathon, Truck Spectacular, whatever you want to call it, you got it right here at Veterans Ford.
That's right. December 8th is Monday, and we are having a truckathon because we have the new F-150 coming in. The aluminum body truck is going to be right here at Veterans Ford. Come down and see it here at Veterans Ford Trucktown.
You know, Robert, with everything going on, not just truck-wise, but also the Ford Mustang, the new one that's out. We see a couple of them out there, beautiful vehicles.
Gorgeous car.
And also have so many other vehicles out here for anybody's price range. You can take care of their needs.
Absolutely. You know, we're out to get aggressive on the price of the vehicles. My internet department, Patrick, in particular, has been charged to sell 50 cars in 10 days. So he's going to move the units to get out there. It's vetsford.com. Go on there and look for the specials. And so Patrick's going to move some units. So get on there, vetsford.com.
Well, it's not just the fact that you're selling all these cars now. Thanksgiving's coming up.
It is.
And people buy things for Thanksgiving. They also got Christmas coming up, because you know what they call the next day after Thanksgiving, right? Black Friday. So people out there listening to me, come on down and get yourself some vehicles.
That's right. Veterans Ford, you know, we're in the business to sell trucks. We're overstocked right now. We have to make room for the new 2015s coming in that will be here about the beginning of January. Again, December 8th, come down that Monday, see the new vehicle. We'll have one here to show our customers. And but in the meantime, we have to move out the old units because we're overstocked. As I said, I think we have over 300 units on the ground. So good time to make a deal here at Veterans Ford, or check us out at vetsford.com.
Rob, one of the things is, in doing this show here from September on, you see so many people come back here almost like family. You've treated them so well throughout the years. And a thing is service too. We're getting into that cold part of the year where you need your vehicle service. You guys do a great job, and a lot of other dealerships, they send their cars here to get them serviced when they can't fix it.
Well, and that's true. Our service department is, you know, with the volume we do, it is we see about everything, and so we've gotten really good at identifying the small and big problems. So we get cars in, get them out, get them fixed. That's why our reputation is so good. Customers love us. That's why they keep coming back. You know, I'd love to share that with, you know, all of viewers to come in and see how good Veterans Ford really is.
Well, you know, we're going to switch it real quick. I know it's a tough week for us, and we got to talk a little bit about the Saints.
Oh, God, that's a
hard. We won't say much about LSU till a little later on. But 2 weeks in a row, the Saints have lost a home game. I mean, Robert, what do they need to do? Get them some new F-150s, maybe?
Yeah, I think everybody out there, getting a great truck like a 150. You know, that's a great question. It was tough for the Saints. It was tough for LSU. Boy, I'll tell you, it just didn't seem like they were in the game. They were lackluster. They didn't play with the passions, even like they did with the Lions when they played them. Their heart was in it. The momentum was there, and they couldn't close that. And now it doesn't seem like they're even showing up to play. So that's tough.
Robert, you know, in being a business owner, it's all about energy, all about focus each and every day. And in your business, when you're not focused, you don't have a lot of energy, you lose money. In the business of the NFL, if you're not focused, you don't have energy, you're unemployed. And that's the sort of thing that every week, because you counted on 16 days out of the year. It's not like 365. It's not like working 5 days, 40 hours a week. You counted on for those particular 16 weeks out of the year looked at, and you got to do it with a certain energy, certain focus, certain pride. And man, listen, you know all about that running the place here at Veterans Ford. That's what you instill with the employees, and certainly I think that's one thing I think Sean Payton, with a new group of kids on the roster, so to speak, he's got installed too.
Yeah, it is. It's a Veterans Ford. We consider it a team sport. You know, everybody's got to come together to deliver the service and you know what customers expect. And you know, from the standpoint of the Saints, it doesn't seem like they're really doing that. There's some passion, but there's not, as a whole team, come together to make the plays and put the effort in to win. And unfortunately, it's showing in the score that the last couple of games that it's not been there.
Robert, thanks so much for joining us this
Always
segment.
a pleasure.
We really appreciate it. We want to tell everybody again, December 8th, Truckathon, Truck Spectacular. Can't find a better place than right here at Veterans Ford, 3724 Veterans Memorial Boulevard, right here in the heart of Metairie. Robert, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks
I know one thing, this guy shows energy and passion each and every week he's on with us. We'll be back more with the John Foucade Show right after this break. Welcome back to the John Foucade Show, sponsored each week by Veterans Ford. One of the John Foucade specials this week, 2014 Ford Focus Sedan SE. Sale price $15,745 plus tax. That's over $7,000 in savings and discount. Come see the dealer here at Veterans Ford for details. Again, on the Ford Focus Sedan SE 2014, talking about $15,745. Welcome back to the John Foucade Show, sponsored each week by Veterans Ford. Mike to tell you along with John Foucade. And John, we talked about lack of energy in the first series we did, and that was exactly, it wasn't lack of energy. They showed up with absolutely no energy with a football team that the week before had basically kind of done the exact same thing against Cleveland, Cincinnati, 27-10. This was a total domination football game by the Bengals, and I'll be honest, in the Sean Payton era, the worst game they've ever played in New Orleans.
Mike, it was a horrible display of football on the NFL level. You know, Cincinnati's coming in this football game after they got shellacked by Cleveland at home and only getting 166 yards of total offense. Well, they had 164 yards of offense in the first quarter against the New Orleans Saints. And it just goes to show you, this team did not show up to play. And it's not as much everybody looks at it and say, well, you know, Rob Ryan's defense. Where was the offense? You don't tell me a New Orleans Saints team going to score 10 points. You know, that's the whole play. Where was the offense?
Bad thing about it, you're settling for field goals. You had a fourth down attempt that didn't go through. The thing is, defensively, you can't get off the field.
Yes.
I mean, you just forced them to punt one time. I mean, and that's a situation, John, I think we've seen it kind of week in, week out. If Drew Brees, and look at his statistics, were good, but if he doesn't play great, this football team's got no shot.
Well, there's no doubt. And, you know, you talk about his statistics. You know, it's most of it coming when you're down, and they were down. I mean, they just couldn't. He had to throw the football at the end of the game. It was just a throw it and air it out. He's going to get his stats because of the style of offense that the NFL's played nowadays. But overall, you're right. They can't get off the field. 3rd and 18 again. What happened? They throw a long pass, completion. It's just they're getting beat on the opportune times to get off the field. They're giving up the big plays and no sacks. I mean, 1 sack, but that's just nothing compared to the guys you got up front. You got to put pressure. You got to make sacks. You got to make turnovers. You got to make plays. They can't get off the field. And when the Saints do get the football, Mike, and like you hit the nail on the head, they get down to the goal line, and there was some horrible play calling down there on the goal line. I saw a tight end open in the end zone. He throws it to his fullback in the flat for no yard gain on 4th down. They just can't get the ball in the end zone for whatever reason. Setting for field goals is not the way to win football games.
You know, one of the things we've talked about all year long is about the giveaway takeaway ratio. That fumble at the end of the game by Cadet really was meaningless.
Yes.
But it really didn't matter. Basically, you didn't turn the ball over other than very late, and yet you still got trounced in this game by the Bengals. Talking about big plays, end of the half, Jeremy Hill, they're trying to run the clock out. All they really think they had to do was let him run about 5 more yards, and the clock would have actually ran out because Jeremy not paying attention to how much time was left on the clock. Hill sets it up for a field goal, kind of set the tone, and then that 3rd and 18 play, Brian Dixon, one-on-one downfield. I don't know what kind of coverage he thought he was playing. I don't think he realized it was 3rd down. He's in bump and run coverage, doesn't even touch A.J. Green. He takes off downfield, back-to-back plays, the 3rd and 18, and then he swings over to the other side, and he beats Corey White. Those big plays and lack of on your side of the field offensively is really right now what's killing this football team.
You're a 4-6 football club right now, and you're still in opportunity to win the South Division of the NFC, and that just goes to show you how bad, because the team they tied with has got the game on them because they played head-to-head. Overall, I look at it this way. The secondary of New Orleans Saints is not very good, Mike. Look at Atlanta 4-6, Saints 4-6, Carolina 3-7-1, and then the Bucks 2-8. Atlanta's in first place because of the fact that they're surging right now over the New Orleans Saints.
They're just lucky Graham Gano missed that field goal at the end.
Right.
But he popped that one, or they'd be in the hunt too. But again, John, it goes down to it. This is such a bad division. And I've heard a lot of people say, oh man, you know, I wouldn't want the Saints in the playoffs because they're playing so bad. My thing is, you got to be kidding me. Man, just get there.
Get in there.
Because you know what? Once you get into the playoffs, everything's erased. It's a whole new season of football. I just can't believe people who cover this sport are saying that they don't deserve to be in the playoffs. None of these teams do. My thing is, just get there. The crazy thing about it is probably a double-digit winning team is going to have to travel to either New Orleans or Atlanta or Carolina, hopefully New Orleans, and they got to play them on your own home turf. My thing is just get in.
The rules were set. Remember, they tried to change that in the league, and the owner said, nope. You win your division, you're automatically in. No matter what record you get, you're in. I can remember a winning double-digit team going to Northwest Seattle and playing a 7-9 team and getting beat the New Orleans Saints that year. So, folks, that's just the way it is. And hey, just get in the playoffs, and when the playoffs begin, like Mike said,
it's a whole new season.
0 is your record, and anything, and you got a home playoff game.
The crazy thing, too, is the fact that now you got some injuries kind of mounting up on this football team. We see Raphael Bush going down to a cracked fibula, and now Brandon Cooks will be out 2 to 4 weeks with a thumb injury. This opens up the door for Joe Morgan. We saw a little kind of brief appearance by Joe. He played so well in the preseason. We saw that stretch once he came back. Gives him an opportunity to kind of revitalize that career, put himself back up there. Other thing, too, now it opens up the door for Marcus Ball, who we got to see in a bad situation. He's trying to blitz, and he jumps off sides on that spot.
Well, I mean, let's look. Nick Toon's got an opportunity now. Joe Morgan, you got Robert Meacham got his chance now. Someone's going to step up for the offense. We understand they got enough weapons offensively. It's the defensive side. You know, you lose Bush, you lose Bird early in the season. Lewis is playing hurt right now. Their secondary has been disastrous all year long. So somebody's got to step up back there.
Other thing, too, is personnel decisions. And listen, this football team has been very good in the past, draft choice-wise, rookie free agents. But bottom line is, John, the last 2 years, when you look at Victor Butler not working out because of the injury, and then Jarvis Bird, he goes out, back injury, knee injury, in that sort of spot. Champ Bailey, I talked about it the day they signed him. You're not signing the 26-year-old champ. You're signing the 36-year-old champ. Father Time chimed on him. 3 big decisions, and you've got nothing out of this draft class other than Brandon Cooks, who's now hurt. When you stay still in the NFL, you've fallen back. And I think you see this across the board in the NFC South. The teams not making the correct decisions to put themselves in a spot like in Arizona Cardinals, Detroit Lions, Dallas Cowboys, who've continuously gotten better via the draft or free agency.
There's no doubt about it. You need the right players. You need to go out and get those players. And do they come by free agency? Do you draft them and you develop them over the years? Some people want to go ahead and get this player now so they'll be there, and they don't want to develop guys. They want to, you know, like the Yankees of baseball. Let's sign everybody we can get them on the team. We don't care what it costs. That's the thing. But the Saints didn't do it right. They went and got some players who just didn't make this roster. Look at it, Mike. You know as well as the Saints are solid on the offensive side of the ball. That's where their key players are at. They got to do something with their defensive side of the football.
Absolutely, and this team, priority number 1 in the offseason, they got to go out and get a veteran starting cornerback.
Yes.
I think there's no doubt that Stanley Jean-Baptiste kind of mystery tour is still out there. And listen, if he wasn't a second-round pick, you couldn't really explain that because Brian Dixon's the one playing who's a rookie free agent over him. We'll have a lot more here on the John Foucade Show, sponsored each week by Veterans Ford. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the John Foucade Show, sponsored each week by Veterans Ford. One of the John Foucade specials this week, a 2014 Ford F-150 Crew Cab XLT, sale price $29,900 plus tax. That's over $12,000 in savings. Listen, that sell for over $42,000. You see all the discounts? You can get them right here at Veterans Ford. Again, 2014 Ford F-150 Crew Cab XLT, $29,900 plus tax. Come see the dealer for details. Welcome back to the John Foucade Show, sponsored each week by Veterans Ford. John, upcoming week, Monday night special, so to speak, and we're going to see a team. And I did the Ladarius Webb camp for the last couple of years, and one of the things, as I was leaving the field at Nicholls State this year, he brought up to me, Mike, guess who has never beaten the Baltimore Ravens? Drew Brees, Sean Payton, never has beaten them. Now you 6-4 Baltimore Ravens come in. Saints 12 straight primetime home games, streak on the line. But Sean Payton's streak of winning in the Dome. Now he's 0-2 the last 2 outings.
Well, it's a team right now coming in here called the Baltimore Ravens, who had a bye week. They're healthy. They're ready to come in here, and they're not afraid to come into the Dome now after seeing what happened in the last 2 weeks. That the 49ers come in and won, the Bengals come in and won, the Ravens licking their chops saying, wait a second, guys, they used to be unbeaten in New Orleans. Now we can come in. Only thing, though, it's prime time, and the Saints do play well in prime time.
Drew Brees has had an unbelievable touchdown to interception ratio on primetime games. But if I'm Joe Flacco and I look across the field and see the cornerbacks the Saints have, and knowing Keenan Lewis is hurt, so to speak, but trying to play through it, man, Steve Smith, Torrey Smith, Owen Daniel at tight end. John, I think he's going to try to throw the football, but Justin Forsett has really been a surprise on that football team as a running back.
Well, you know, they're not afraid to come here. They won, the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, played right here at the Dome. The only thing that's going to help us is, can we turn the lights off? You know, like that happened before.
But that might kind of spook them a little bit from back then.
Might have a relapse of it. But look, I look at it this way. The Saints can come in and find a way to hang in this football game, because this is going to be one tested battle for them all year long. They've had some other teams that play. This is crucial for them. This is a must-win football game. I got to say it now, must-win game.
When you look at Ozzie Newsome and his time with the Ravens, he's rebuilt this team. This is the 3rd time. From a personnel standpoint, for a lot of the general managers in this league, they kind of got into the league from financial part of it. They kind of administrative people, finances, turned out to be general managers and kind of picked up the NFL game. But from a pure football standpoint, has anybody done it better as a general manager than Ozzie Newsome to rebuild 3 different teams? And this looks like a playoff team also.
Well, that's the key to it. He rebuild with his coaching staff, and they go out and get the right player. You know, let's just say they lost Rice before the season began, a running back that everybody thought was going to be better than he was the year before, and he's got the potential to be one of the better running backs in the league. He's gone, but they replace him with somebody and go and replace.
Justin Forsett has been
What about the defensive guys they lost? You know, Ray Lewis retired. They just move on to the next guy. Ed Reed move on to the next guy. That's the key about having your personnel department along with your general manager who looks to bring in the right caliber of players, and that's not what you've been getting here in New Orleans with some of these players they brought in. But Baltimore has just replugged in, and they're going to come in at 6-4. And they're fighting, Mike, not just with, playoff. They got the Bengals, the Browns, and Pittsburgh winning, last night. So just goes to show they're in the battle. They have to win to keep up.
John, one of the things a lot of people aren't talking about is the concussion issue to Zach Strief, which would open up that right tackle position. Elvis Dumervil, you know what he does best. He rushes the quarterback. That's something to watch as the week goes along, as we get a little closer to next Monday night. Can Zach Strief play in that football game? Because if I know you got Bryce Harper there, I'm going to overload or put certain people there to get pressure on Drew Brees from his right side, his strong side.
Well, the problem, you look at the Saints line, hasn't been the best all year long. They had given up, hits, given up pressure. They've done well in the sack department, but they have given up pressure. They have given the ability that they can get to the quarterback, just haven't made a lot of sacks. Who plays that right tackle is crucial, because you always want your left tackle protecting your quarterback, the backside. But in this case, when you bring in someone new, and the way they rush with the defensive line for the Baltimore Ravens, they can put anybody over there. And, who's the guy on the other side? I think his name is Shrugs.
So now you just pick your poison on where you want to go with this. Monday Night Football, we saw Zach Merrick, I thought, did a pretty good job in that football game. Kind of bad weather conditions, but the Steelers ended up, Le'Veon Bell, he just absolutely tore it up, and the Saints will see him in a couple weeks. The Steelers finding a way to win, not just about Ben Roethlisberger, but that offensive line, and Le'Veon Bell got it done.
Bell did such a great job last night. They had to cut the other running back for leaving the field in the game, blunt before the game was over. That's a shame that happened. He gone before the game was over. Zach Mettlenburg, don't you think LSU wished they had him back for another year? He's played well for them over the last 2 games he's played. He's young. He's going to get better and better. But the Pittsburgh Steelers last night, I turned the game off, Mike. Thought it was going to be over. I thought they were going to blow this game. They came back and won it from what I saw on the news this morning. But overall, the Saints got to look out. That's another team they got to play. They had Cleveland they lost to, the Bengals they lost to, the Ravens are coming in, and then Pittsburgh. It's not going to get any easier for the Saints.
And for the Cleveland Browns, they get Josh Gordon back, who's one of the elite receivers in the National Football League. He comes back off suspension. Cleveland's been a team that you say, well, they're not that good, and all of a sudden they play a good game and a couple good games and they play a bad game. Getting Josh back, though, is huge. If you're Brian Hoyer, you're saying, man, thank the football gods I got him back this late in the year.
I agree with that. I think he's going to be a great addition to Cleveland, but I'm going to go on record and tell you, Cleveland Browns might not make this playoffs. I don't think they're going to end up. I think it's going to be Pittsburgh or Baltimore who's going to end up. I think Cincinnati is going to slowly digress here. But you're right, getting these weapons back. These teams this time of the year are getting weapons back. Pittsburgh's got some good weapons. And other teams, as we go on and play the Saints, when they going to get some of their guys to step up? It ain't getting players back because a lot of these guys are hurting out for a while. But we have to, as the New Orleans Saints, have some players step up who's got to step in to an injured player's role.
You know, one of the things I think we see in more and more, and I'm kind of sounding more and more like my dad used to years ago, but entitlement. We see RG3 blasting his teammates about them not doing their jobs right, and he's not doing his job right. He's more concerned about social media and being great in front of the camera, which he does, and he really is outstanding, answering questions, that sort of thing. John, I think we're getting into that age now where, you know, a lot of young kids coming into this league, once they make it, feels as though they're entitled to everything.
Yeah.
And I mean, we almost sound like our fathers in saying that, but you are in that era of seeing that happen. I think that's why you see so much up and down play in the NFL today. I think because the salary cap has put it, you can't keep a lot of veteran players on your team. You're keeping a lot of younger kids. Once they make a roster, you know, they feel as though they're entitled to something.
I look at this, Mike, until a GM or an owner says, this is how we're going to pay you. You perform, you put the numbers up there, I'll be more than happy to cut you a $10 million check. But giving you money up front now and knowing you can coast on in, knowing I got my money coming, doesn't matter how I play, I'm the king of the hill. And let me tell you something, somebody's knocking that king of the hill off right now. And in Washington, D.C., hear me out right now, Redskins, I think you're done, RG3.
I really believe that. I think Jay Gruden basically is telling the owner here, hey, listen, he's been a problem all along. Yes. But I do think it's something you see across the NFL landscape. We got a lot more here on the John Foucade Show, sponsored each week by Veterans Ford. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the John Foucade Show, sponsored each week by Veterans Ford. One of the John Foucade specials, 2014 Ford Escape Titanium. Sale price $26,965. That's almost $7,000 in savings. You had a list price of $33,865. Man, great deal here. Look at all the amenities you get right here on a 2014 Ford Escape Titanium. Sale price $26,965. No better place. Come on, man. You got to come on down to Veterans Ford. Welcome back to the John Foucade Show, sponsored each week by Veterans Ford. And boy, as bad as it was with the Saints, you saw an effort by LSU coming off a tremendous effort against Alabama, a game to which they could have ended up winning. What a lousy effort. 123 yards total offense against an Arkansas team with 17 games in a row, SEC losing streak on the line. And right off the bat, John, you could tell this football team was flat as a pancake against Arkansas.
Well, happens again early in the game. They call a timeout when they start the game after running the play or so. Then they snap it over the guy's head. You saw right here. Arkansas is supposed to be a running football club. They came out throwing, Mike. They came out a little play action throwing. Well, LSU, I'm trying to figure out this guy's wide open over his head. LSU's got some issues right now. You know, people talk about they came in flat. They didn't even come in at all. They still left them in Baton Rouge because I don't know who showed up at this football game. And 17-0, not even getting a point. And with this kind of a high-powered offense, supposed to have a quarterback guru, supposed to have, you know, an offensive guy who calls plays. And, you know, you heard Les Miles say, well, maybe we should have thrown the ball more. Well, you're the head coach. Tell them to throw the ball.
Yeah, aren't you the guy kind of controlling this from the offensive side of the football to begin with? Listen,
and where was Harris?
Cam Cameron is an extension of the head coach.
Right.
Anytime you hire a coordinator, he's an extension of that head coach, and Cam is doing exactly what Les wants him to do. But bottom line is this: if you're going to run a drop back style quarterback scheme, power eye, whatever you want to do, then you can't recruit guys from the state of Louisiana. You're not finding those quarterbacks here. You're going to have to go to Texas or California, Arizona to get those drop back guys.
So you got one. He's over at Rummel.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that later.
But when you look at it, Anthony Jennings, Brandon Harris, they've come out of the pistol.
Right.
They've come out of the spread option formation. You got to adapt your system to what they do best. John, they aren't doing any of that. And it's confusion for both quarterbacks to try to be. It's almost the square peg being put in the round hole.
All right, well, let's flip it over real quick here. A running back. If I'm a star running back, do you want to go to LSU now that I'm seeing what happens? Landon Fournette got 5 carries, and he's playing every other hour. I mean, come on, he's your star number one player, and you give him 5 carries, and then you rotate in McGee, and you rotate in Williams. If I'm a good running back, do I want to go to LSU knowing three-headed monster, and I might get 5 carries, 6 carries a game? They should have went with Fournette until you can't ride him any longer, and then do something else. But offensively for LSU, it is going downhill over the last 2 to 3 years, big time.
You saw a little bit of adjustment last year because they had Zach Mettenberger. Able to throw the football. You saw the development. Adam Henry does a great job with the wide receivers, and you saw his development of Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham. We've seen it this year from Trayvon Durrell, Malachi Dupree. Yeah, talent's great, but on the other part about it is there's no rhyme or rhythm to this offense at all. Again, it starts back at the quarterback position. Defensively, though, one of the things we had talked about early in the year, why Kendall Beckwith wasn't playing as much. You saw Arkansas exploit him, throwing the football to the tight end. And a lot of teams didn't take advantage of that. And I think Kendall's made a lot of progress in his play, stopping the run at middle linebacker. But boy, his pass coverage part of the game was really, really missing against Arkansas. And you just can't put your defense back out on the field time and time again. They're going to wear down.
Well, if you tell me right now, I'm going to play in the SEC, my defense, you give up 17 points and lose. If I'm any defense coordinator in the SEC, I'd be more than happy to say 17-0, let's go out and play. But that's not what you're getting with this LSU offense. Your defense can't play like they played the whole game and not have your offense try and make some points. And missing 2 field goals. Delhousy's definitely a guy you expect to make those field goals. That's momentum changes there. But there is something wrong with this LSU football club. And I don't know if it starts, head coach is telling what the guys defensively and offensively how to run it, what to run it. Something's got to change. And if it's got to be another quarterback next year, go get your quarterback.
Well, you basically kind of got what you got. I think, though, the talent is Brandon Harris. You look at this offense, though, the last 3 games, how many touchdowns have they scored? 3.
3.
Yeah, you just look at it. And in essence, you beat Ole Miss in a great defensive club, so to speak, and you were able to wear them down. Against Alabama, you saw what happened in that spot where you had an opportunity to win a game late. But this really opened up the door for something I've said all season long. Eventually, that quarterback issue is going to catch up to you, and it caught up with them against Arkansas. It'd be funny to see this as they have the bye week. They're playing Texas A&M. You're talking about a mercurial football team. Texas A&M's it, but if I'm Texas A&M, I'll put 9 men on the line of scrimmage and say, I dare you to throw it down.
And it's a golden opportunity for Les to go in there and say, okay, we're going to split these guys. One of you get a quarter, next get the quarter, whoever get the hot hand goes on. Give Harris a chance to see what he can do. And if he flops on his face, Mike, like he did against Auburn, then he flops on his face. You get him ready for next season. But at least let him play. You got 2 games left. You got a bowl game against what's the matter you down the road. We'll see what happens.
And we praise Curtis Johnson and Tulane. They did a great job to win against Houston. But, John, again, did they not show up? Homecoming at Tulane and Memphis right off the bat, and you see it, the turnovers in this football game turned the tide real quickly, and Tanner Lee just was off in this game, and Memphis took deep control of this football game very quickly.
Yeah, that's the big key to it. When you turn the football over like they have, and you don't ever want to have a homecoming game at home, knowing you're coming off a big victory on the road against Houston. You step in here, you play your homecoming game, and you turn the ball over like they have, and they just get shellacking 38-7, 5 turnovers. You can't beat anybody with 5 turnovers. I don't care who you are.
You're talking about 3 interceptions, 2 of them returned for touchdowns, and now they play East Carolina coming up, and man, listen, the East Carolina's a pretty doggone good football team.
They could put 80 points on you in a heart. They put 71 on North Carolina, so what does that mean right now?
That's going to be a difficult pull for Tulane. But, overall, though, I think Curtis has got them headed in the right direction. But you can see it's a personnel issue. There is no question about it. Personnel issue, and they got to get better along the offensive, defensive line. I know Tanner will get better at the quarterback position, but I think certainly it's lacking. Offensive, defensive line people, I think, is the big key to winning. I don't care what division you in, you got to win in the trenches.
Well, if you're going to be one team that likes to throw the football, and they got good running backs, but they got a good quarterback. If they can get the offensive line to protect, that's where it all starts right there, because that's how your turnovers come. If you don't have a line, he rushes or he gets pressure. But you're right, you got to have the big boys up front on both defensively and offensive side. Lionel Washington has done a great job for what he's had on the defensive side. Last year was a good defense. This year was an average defense. But get him some players, and these guys can compete. They're in a conference, Mike. They can compete. And that's the thing about it. Get the right players, you'll be able to compete.
You know, and you look at East Carolina Football Club, and you brought it up, man, they can chime some points on the board too. They've got that thing rolling at a real high pace. Tulane's defense is in for a big test this coming week against East Carolina. We'll have a lot more here on the John Foucade Show, sponsored each week by Veterans Ford. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the John Foucade Show, sponsored each week by Veterans Ford. It's our player spotlight this week, and we got 3 this week we're going to do, but right off the bat, out on the West Coast, Leonard Williams, my top-rated defensive player overall for the 2015 NFL Draft, big defensive tackle from Southern Cal. We're talking about a young man who's almost 6'5", 310 pounds, a big guy in the middle, but John, he can move. Ed Orgeron was telling me he had a lot to do with Leonard going to Southern Cal, and he said athletically, there ain't a lot of guys that can compare to Leonard Williams.
No, you look out here, number 94, USC. A lot of polls have him as possibly the top #1 pick in the NFL draft this upcoming season. A lot of teams would love to have him. He's a guy that plays fast and hard on every play, and that's what he gives you. And that's the thing you want. You want a player like that of his caliber, 6'5", 300 pounds, and who can move.
The thing about it is he's not big in the belly. When you watch him play, he's still a lean athlete at that 310 pounds, and he's a guy who's quick off the snap, has learned how to use his arms and hands real well. Again, having been coached by Ed Orgeron, was coached 9 first-round pick defensive linemen, and Ed tells me, hey, he's as talented as anybody he's ever coached athletically. You're talking about a guy that's going to end up being one of the top 2 or 3 picks, if not the top overall pick.
Mike, you mean to tell me the young man doesn't look like us in the belly?
No, he's nothing like us in the middle.
He don't look like us in the middle.
No,
but
no.
you know, USC's always going to have a player who's going to be in the top 2 or 3 picks, because that's just what they develop out there. These guys on the defensive line have an opportunity now to go on our next level. But 6'5", 300 pounds, who can move and who's an athlete. If the Saints got any opportunity to get up there, I'd snatch this guy, but yeah, they won't have that opportunity.
You won't have it because you would probably need one of the top couple of 3 picks to get
well,
him.
Well, the way we playing right now,
it would take a sharp decline into that. But I do know one thing about Leonard. He's the type of football player that it's rare as a defensive tackle that can put pressure up the middle. And so he won't sleep long on draft day, put it to you that way.
Do you think he'll play the inside or outside?
I think he'll be a little bit of both.
Do you?
I think a little bit of both, but I think he's more of a 4-3 defensive tackle.
Right. Yeah, that's what I think.
I also have 2 LSU guys, Danielle Hunter, Jalen Collins, who has really risen up the draft boards. John, we've had an opportunity to watch both of them develop at LSU. Jalen Collins, we talked a little bit about him last week, from Olive Branch, Mississippi. Danielle Hunter's a young man from the Texas high school ranks. And we see, again, a pass rusher. Right now, I'd give him a 2nd-round pick grade along with Jalen Collins. But we know one thing, come draft day, pass rushers and cover cornerbacks, they move up the charts quickly. Everybody's looking for them.
Well, the thing about, you look at Hunter, and he sort of reminds you of Mango size-wise, and maybe, maybe a little
Especially
quicker.
in the lower body,
right.
where he's not.
If you look at him, he's a down lineman who can play stand-up if you ask him to. He's not one of them 300-pounders. He's 6'6", probably 260 if I had to put a number on it. But he can move. I love the way he puts his hands up. He understands when a quarterback stops his drop back, there's no need for me to keep rushing. He's about to throw the ball. I've seen him block a lot of passes this year. Now, looking at Collins wasn't a guy we talked about before the season began. We talked about White, Mills, we talked about Robinson, and all of a sudden Collins gets his playing time because why? Robinson got suspended early in the season, and Collins has stepped up to the plate. They put him on Cooper a couple of weeks ago against Alabama.
He did
played
a fantastic
job. He's really been pretty much a shutdown guy right now. That's what the NFL look for. 6'1", 210-pound guy who can cover and run.
When I look at Danielle Hunter, one of the things he reminds me a little bit of, he hasn't put up the stats, but Brian Arakpo, when he was in Texas and now he's with the Washington Redskins, a guy who's a little bit of a hybrid player, defensive end, outside linebacker. Jalen Collins also brings that ability too. He can play cornerback, free safety, nickel dime, so he's on the field a lot. You got those 2 guys, and man, I hate to say it for LSU fans, but I think you're going to see again 6 to 7 juniors come out early off of this LSU football team.
Mike, it's great that happens. People look at it, and kids that get recruited say, man, I can go to LSU pretty much you go anywhere, top 4 schools in the SEC, and you're a junior and you play well up, you can go on about your business and play in the NFL. That's what's hurting some of these schools in the SEC when they lose these juniors, and you can't fault them, but LSU has done it year in and year out over the years. Look at the juniors that left that are better than some of the seniors that play in the SEC. It just goes to show you LSU can recruit these players, they just don't keep them long.
Crazy thing about it is, and we talk about it, Jeremy Hill rushed for 153 yards. He wasn't even the top LSU runner. Right. Alfred Blue, young man who grew up right up the road from where I live at. He went to Hornville High School. He gets 156 for the Houston Texans. Can you ever remember a time, now I've been doing this 27 years, I don't remember it, 2 LSU running backs in the same week who rushed for over 150 yards.
It just goes to show you what LSU brings to the table when they go out and get these players. And they pretty much tell these players, look, son, you'll come here and you want a shot to go in the NFL, you might not be the star player and everything, but in the long run, you produce, you do well enough, you do the job that we ask you to do. And these guys will go, because there's a lot of running backs that went to LSU that ended up in the NFL that's still playing in the NFL. And there's some guys, look at the receiving corps now that's in the NFL. And then the defensive backs. And some of these hybrid rush ends. There's a lot of players that can go off and play somewhere. Don't have to be the star, just produce.
John, I think one of the things that has changed from when, say, we were in high school to today is the best athlete, high school back, 70s, into that range, even into the 60s, they play quarterback. Today, they play in receiver.
Oh, yeah.
They have 16 players from the state of Louisiana with the potential to get 1A scholarships. I mean, that's unbelievable. You're talking about 16 kids that are projected as wide receivers to go on to the next level from the high school ranks. It's really becoming, Louisiana has become wide receiver U, so to speak, if you want to recruit receivers. And so you have to adjust a little bit your game to all those receivers coming out. But you're right, look at LSU's football team, Kenny Hilliard, Terrence McGee. They got roles in the National Football League. Not going to be starting players, but as role positions.
Well, there's no doubt about it. All you got to do is get on film, let people see you, and you go to a good school that produce. And then you got coaches that talk it up for you. You got a great chance to play the next day, the next level, I mean.
We'll be back with more of the John Foucade Show, sponsored each week by Veterans Ford. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the John Foucade Show, sponsored each week by Veterans Ford. This is our segment. Normally we bring in somebody from Veterans Ford, and this week we got us a rookie, but this guy got a lot of experience in the body shop business. Mr. Darren Murphy, who's the body shop assistant manager here at Veterans Ford. Darren, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Thanks so much.
Darren, you the guy they come to when there's a fender bender, something needs to be replaced on a vehicle, they coming to you.
They coming to see me for everything, whether it's large or small. We open Monday through Friday. We're a factory state facility. We work on all vehicles other than Fords as well, so we can handle any type of vehicle you have a damage with.
See, that's the key to it, Mike. In fact, people don't need to just bring Ford vehicles here. No. When it's a body shop, some people say, hey, you know, I have to bring it to a Toyota or Nissan. This is a Ford dealership who can work on other people's cars.
We can work on any type of vehicle over here. You know, we have factory certified technicians. We deal with all major insurance companies, so we can eliminate the hassle. You know, any problem you may have with dealing with an insurance company, you could just bring it to us and we can handle it for you.
Dan, one of the things is availability too. When you get a car that's brought in that needs some work, kind of tell everybody how you kind of set it up to go about to get if you need new parts for that vehicle. We open, as I said, we open Monday through Friday. We do estimating all day long, so we could we handle everything needed for any facility, you know, that you need. So
to help you out here, when people bring their vehicles in, what's the time factor usually?
Yeah,
when
time
somebody
frame
comes
we're talking about.
Hey, I bring in my Ford F-150 and it's got some work to be done on it. They want to know how quick can they get a turnover on it?
Most of the time it's within 10 days, provided we don't have a big supplement, you know. A lot of times it's dealing with the insurance companies and get people to come out and write a supplement order. But most of the time, as soon as we get a vehicle in, we order parts right away. We start the process, we write a folder, we get everything going to get your vehicle in motion for you. So we got great reviews online. You could go online and check our reviews out. Everybody's been happy with it so far.
Yeah, another thing too is paint. A lot of people, man, they fall in love with that vehicle. They don't want to get rid of it. paint kind of fades a little bit on it. You guys do a great job on that paint work.
We get all vehicles back to factory specs. You know, Ricky Marlboro is our paint and a body shop. He's been working here for 10 years plus. He's been working for Ford for like 20 years plus. So he's one of the best painters in the city. So he works really good, you know, and we haven't had any complaints.
We're going to change it up here, Mike, because I know he's a big, big Saints fan. We had talked about it off the air. You saw what happened this past week and the week before. You had a lot of issues about talking to Saints before the show. Tell us some of your issues with the New Orleans Saints.
Oh, man.
In 2 minutes.
The secondary needs to come together. I'm a lifelong Saints fan, and who that for life, you know, but the secondary definitely needs to come together. I don't know what the problem is. Our offense just don't seem to be having the spark that it used to have as well. You know, some of our key players are not stepping up like they once were. You know, I don't know what to say, man. I was really disappointed. Saw how good we played the
Packers.
The Packers, yeah, how good we played the Packers, and then to come in and flat on these 2 games, I just don't understand it.
And that's the way it's in the NFL world, so to speak. We saw what happened in the Superdome the second half against the Packers. Short week, you go to Carolina. I think everybody's feeling this, man, we got the season kind of swung around a little bit, and then all of a sudden, back-to-back games at home. I think that's the most shocking part. To lose to San Francisco, who I think is a really good football team, is one thing. But to lose to Cincinnati in the way they lost, that I agree with you. That's the most disappointing part of it.
I don't understand how they left this guy, A.J. Green, open so many times all through the game. He's one of the #1 receivers in the NFL, and they left him open. You know, I mean, I don't understand.
Well, Darren, I know one thing you understand. That's the body shop business. So we want to tell everybody, hey, listen, if you need some body shop work done, you can come right down here to Veterans Ford. Come see Mr. Murphy. He'll take care of you. We'll be back with more of the John Foucade Show, sponsored each week by Veterans Ford. Back to the John Foucade Show, sponsored each week by Veterans Ford. Want to tell everybody, Thursday night, Southeastern Louisiana plays Nickel State River Bell Classic. You can see that game right here on WHNO TV 20 live at 6 p.m. You get an opportunity. Brian Bennett, Isaiah Corbett, 2 guys will be playing at the next level, goes up against Nickel State. Bo Hebert's final game for the Colonels. Finishing it up here on the John Foucade Show, sponsored each week by Veterans Ford. It's our special segment each week where we do the predictions. Right off the bat, Tulane, East Carolina.
Oh, East Carolina in a blowout. I just, sorry to say this, but those guys could put points on the board. I saw them play a couple games this year. Boy, they got an offense, and I don't know about Tulane's defense.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think I look for a big game out of East Carolina where they could put up actually 60 points in this game. They're that type of offense that they can put up a ton of points. Saints, Baltimore Ravens, Monday Night Football, and just when you think you can throw a little bit of dirt on the Saints, I think they come back with a W against the Ravens.
Well, I was about to put the nails in the coffin on this one. I thought the Ravens would come in with a better club because the Saints are so down right now, Mike. But I'm going to flip it over because it is primetime game, and the Saints do win on primetime TV.
You look at how well this football team has done on primetime. They've been spectacular on Monday Night Football in particular. But at home, I got to go with the Saints here. I just think that Drew Brees and company will find a way to win. It wouldn't shock me to go to Pittsburgh and get beat. But I think, again, Monday Night Football against the Ravens, and just like we've talked about so many times about Sean Payton's home field record, that eventually the jockey going to get thrown off the horse. Arkansas last week with a 17-game losing streak, that LSU was in the line of fire. I think the Ravens streak with the Saints, so to speak, with Peyton and Breeze, I think goes down. Ole Miss, Arkansas. Interesting football game because Ole Miss has had a little time to prepare, and Arkansas seen a lot of film how LSU attacked Ole Miss running the football. I like Ole Miss in this game, but I think, John, it's razor-thin close. I think the Rebels end up winning, but in a close game.
I think the same. I think the Rebels win this football game. You're right. It's going to be a close game. I think what you're going to see here, I think Arkansas comes in a little flat because they just got their first win and a Brent Bellman, and I think the way they played against LSU, shutting those guys down, I don't think you're going to shut the Ole Miss Rebels with their offense. Their offense understands how to go and score with Hugh Freeze's offense. I like this being 24-20.
One of the things too is I think Ole Miss can protect that quarterback, and I think if Bo Wallace hits a couple passes downfield, be interesting to see though without their top receiver how they adjust offensively. One of the things they do have is a lot of depth at wide. They have a lot of depth at that wide receiver position. Tell us a little bit about Rummel. What's cooking there, John?
Hey, Rummel plays this Saturday. They switched it to Saturday night, playing Turlington Catholic out of Lafayette. It's a big game for them. That's their first playoff game of the season. They had a bye week last week. I like Rummel in this game. Weather conditions could be a big factor. Turlington likes to throw the football. They have a 6'7" quarterback at Turlington. They do throw the football. I mean, they got a spread them out type thing. I think Rummel comes in this way and just grounds and pounds. And, you know, if Chase is on, I think this game is, you know, Rummel 31, and let's go Turlington 20.
You know, one of the things a buddy of mine who's a graduate of Jesuit, he said, hey, you got to make sure you talked about the Blue Jays beating St. Aug. That was a big win for Jesuit.
Yeah, and they got a big one coming up this weekend. You know, it's not going to be any easier for those guys. They go to Lafayette, Jesuit goes, and they can beat St. Thomas more. I think they got a good opportunity. I like Jesuit upsetting St. Thomas up in Lafayette.
Boy, again, we've talked about it so many times, how it's what great stories in high school football, the bounce back of the Catholic League right here in New Orleans. Unbelievable. We talk about what happened post-Katrina and that everybody was kind of throwing dirt on the Catholic League. It would be over with. Now, maybe the best team kind of section-wise in the state of Louisiana.
And real quick, Brother Martin goes up to Catholic in Baton Rouge, and another team. There's 3 Catholic League boys.
We want to thank everybody for watching another version of the John Foucade Show, sponsored each week by Veterans Ford. Thank you for watching, and we'll be back next week.